Things got completely out of control at BKFC in Philadelphia this weekend, and one of the wildest crowd brawls we've seen in a long time involved Mike Perry and UFC legend Eddie Alvarez. But that was just the beginning. Tom Aspinall just went through another eye surgery. Shakur Stevenson wants a fight with Ilia Topuria. Joaquin Buckley is firing shots at boxing champions. Daniel Cormier thinks Jon Jones is lying. And we've got updates from Conor McGregor, Demetrious Johnson, Arman Tsarukyan, and Ilia Topuria himself. Let us break down everything in today's MMA news. Mike Perry versus Eddie Alvarez crowd fight explained. Over the weekend at BKFC in Philadelphia, chaos broke out when Mike Perry and Eddie Alvarez were involved in a physical altercation in the crowd. Fans quickly captured footage, and the clip went viral across social media. Now, Mike Perry has finally shared his side of the story on the Overdogs podcast. According to Perry, the incident started with a misunderstanding involving Eddie Alvarez, his son and his son's girlfriend. Perry explained that he was sitting in the front row wearing a hat when someone bumped into him from behind. He turned around and politely said something along the lines of, "Excuse me, watch out," not realizing it was Eddie Alvarez's son, as girlfriend. But that simple comment apparently escalated the situation. Perry said Eddie's son leaned in aggressively and the conversation turned heated. Eddie's wife also started yelling, which only added fuel to the fire. Perry claims he tried to apologize, but Eddie's son began talking about Perry's family, which pushed him over the edge. Perry admitted he was already fired up when he arrived at the event. And when Eddie's son made certain comments, he got heated and fired back. He said something that he admits could have been taken as disrespectful. And that's when Eddie Alvarez got involved. According to Perry, Eddie stood up and shoved him extremely hard, causing him to slip and fall. Perry claims that punches did start flying until he hit the ground. And he did. He even realized how many people were involved in the brawl at the time. He said he was really getting hit much and was confused about what was happening. Perry also mentioned that a random guy jumped in and nearly knocked out Eddie's son's girlfriend during the chaos. He admitted he disrespected Eddie's son verbally because he felt provoked, but he acknowledged that Eddie was just doing what a father should do. He explained that Eddie was aggressively trying to ground and pound him, and that Eddie mostly tried to control the situation. Perry also noted that he did have his crew around him and was basically alone except for his manager, who got pushed out of the way. Perry wrapped up by saying that he is used to chaotic situations because he is a fighter and did take it too personally. Eddie Alvarez and his wife respond. Eddie Alvarez and his wife did not stay quiet. Eddie reposted the footage on Instagram and said there was way more to the story than fans knew. He emphasized that his wife, kids, and family were involved and said he was not sorry for what happened. Eddie said the situation was deserved and that people shouldn't disrespect someone's family and expect things to stay cordial. He also said he was glad Mike Perry was okay and that nobody was seriously hurt. Eddie's wife also reposted the clip and defended her family. She said no real parent would allow someone to disrespect their son or brother and claimed they were nothing but nice to Perry when they arrived. Later, Eddie responded again and accused Perry of making the situation public for clicks. He said he was originally going to bury the story for Perry's sake, but would release the full unfiltered truth soon. So this story might not be over yet. Tom Aspinall has another eye surgery. Moving on to some serious health news. Tom Aspinall has undergone another eye surgery. Tom reposted an update from Optigress expert team, who have been working closely with him after his highly publicized eye poke injury. According to the post, the team has been supporting his recovery, and after surgery on both eyes, they are continuing the journey to restore his vision to fighting condition. Tom later posted a follow-up photo showing his eyes extremely red just one day after surgery. The heavyweight champion is clearly dealing with major complications, and fans are hoping he can fully recover and get back to the octagon soon. Shakur Stevenson wants a boxing match with Ilia Topuria. Now, in crossover fight talk, boxing champion Shakur Stevenson has welcomed the idea of a boxing match with UFC champion Ilia Topuria. Shakur said that while he thinks UFC is better in some ways, the skill level is different between boxing and MMA. He questioned whether someone like Jon Jones would dominate in boxing, and dismissed that idea. When asked about Ilia Topuria specifically, Shakur said he does care and that Topuria should come fight him. He acknowledged that MMA fighters are good at what they do and boxers are good at what they do, but he made it clear he would be open to the matchup. This immediately sparked reactions across both the MMA and boxing communities. Joaquin Buckley goes off on Shakur and Terence Crawford. UFC fighter Joaquin Buckley absolutely went off on Shakur Stevenson and Terence Crawford for their comments about MMA fighters. Buckley accused boxers of being disrespectful to UFC fighters and specifically called out Shakur. He criticized Shakur's recent performance and claimed Shakur should have knocked out his opponent instead of playing it safe to protect his record. Buckley said that boxers worry too much about their undefeated records and don't want to risk embarrassment. He argued that MMA fighters are far more entertaining and that boxing is predictable. He said in the UFC, you never know what is going to happen because of wrestling, submissions, knees, elbows, kicks, and spinning attacks. Buckley went as far as saying that in a real fight scenario, MMA fighters would be far more dangerous. His rant went viral instantly, and fans are now debating the ongoing boxing versus MMA rivalry once again. Daniel Cormier thinks Jon Jones is lying. Next, Daniel Cormier reacted to footage of Jon Jones, claiming he has severe arthritis in his left hip and is interested in a wrestling match against DC. Jon Jones said the conversation was private and recorded without his consent using meta glasses, and that the person who leaked it was irresponsible. However, Daniel Cormier does not believe that story at all. DC said it. Extremely easy to tell when someone is recording with meta glasses, especially if they are only a few feet away. He believes Jones knew he was being recorded and intentionally leaked the information. Cormier thinks Jon Jones wanted people to know he is injured and that the leak was strategic. He also believes Jones is dealing with long-term injuries from his career in combat sport and that his body has taken serious damage. DC even suggested that the video convinced him Jones has nothing left in the tank for wrestling and that there will never be a wrestling match between them. Aljamain Sterling says Jon Jones got him into MMA. Aljamain Sterling revealed that meeting Jon Jones was the reason he got into MMA in the first place. Sterling explained that he met Jon Jones in college and followed his training journey on social media. When Sterling transferred schools, he saw Jones training and reached out to ask where he was trained. Jones invited him to train, and Sterling decided to show up, despite Jones thinking he would. Sterling said he wanted to prove he was serious, and hasn't. He stopped training since. He said he saw Jones having success, and thought he could do it too, especially since wrestling was paying him any money. Sterling joked that he wanted to make some money and fight, and that decision led him to where he is today. He thanked Jon Jones for inspiring his career. Conor McGregor working on grappling. Conor McGregor posted footage of himself working on grappling as he prepares for a potential UFC return. Conor still does have a confirmed opponent or date, but he has been campaigning for a fight on the White House card. Fans noticed him focusing on grappling, which could signal a more complete approach if he returns to the octagon. Jorge Masvidal and Michael Morales versus Ian Garry. Also safe to say that both Jorge Masvidal and Michael Morales do not like Ian Garry. Morales has made his stance clear, and the rivalry between Garry and several fighters continues to grow. This could set up some serious future matchups in the welterweight division. Demetrious Johnson trains Arman Tsarukyan. Demetrious Johnson was seen teaching Arman Tsarukyan striking techniques. In the footage, DJ explains distance management, timing, and how to avoid getting hit while setting up a fence. He emphasized staying outside and not grabbing unnecessarily, forcing opponents to open up instead. This collaboration caught fans' attention, especially considering Tsarukyan's growing status in the lightweight division. Arman Tsarukyan links up with Jake Paul. Arman Tsarukyan also linked up with Jake Paul in Armenia. The two were seen hanging out, talking about life, training, and even discussing random topics like traditions and travel. The crossover between MMA and influencer boxing continues to grow, and this meetup got fans talking. Ilia Topuria sends a message to Islam Makhachev. Finally, Ilia Topuria had a strong message for Islam Makhachev. Topuria said, "Everyone wants to see the fight and criticized Makhachev for not accepting it. He said it. Easy to talk from far away. But once they were in the octagon, things will change." Topuria claimed that when he lands his right hand, Makhachev will be in for a long sleep. The message was clear, confident, and aggressive, and fans are now demanding this fight even more. Top comments and outro. To wrap it up, here are the top comments from the last video. The first comment said, Ariel Helwani versus MMA Guru at the White House gig. Early prelims. The second comment said, Buckley talking about the division and saying Ian is watching from the corner is hilarious. And the final comment said, Ariel versus Guru on Misfits Boxing. If you want to be featured in the next video, drop a comment down below. And if you missed yesterday's news, click the video on screen right now to get caught up.